So, none of this is really scripted, and I'm gonna cover quite a few topics. I wanted to talk about a writing and it's not a writing exercise. There was an idea that I was blessed with that um, the more I started thinking about the details and making a story, the more that I realized that it's probably true. Um, this started. Well, let me back up because, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that I want to speak about. Um, I've been through some seasons where I had a lot of negative thought processes in my life, and I still battle with it all the time. Um, whether it comes from outside sources or inward. There have been times of complete fear, which is all it's on YouTube. My life has been on YouTube um, for the past 2 years, 3 years, and though I seem to have moved out of it, I noticed that some of the people that I look up to, much larger channels, seem to unknowingly be going through the same thing. The men, boys, please stop. Some of the men that I look up to uh, for spiritual guidance, I can't escape hearing this mantra over and over that all this is going away, and they seem to be the most just helpless and like all is lost. I don't know how to describe it, and I'm not trying to poke at anyone, but I know that some of them view my content, and so I'm just saying this generally. I believe all these men to be men of God, and if the power of life and death is in the tongue, and that we're going to be judged by everything that we say, I just think that that should be taken into consideration because I know them and I know their spirit, and it's not them, and it's actually affecting more people than they realize by just repeating that over and over, and it's just something that needs to be thought about. If it is to all go away, then so be it, but it won't go away until God allows it. So just sit on that, please, because I think it just has more of a powerful impact on your viewers than you realize. That being said, some of the negative things that I've been through on the show that me and Photo won the other day, he mentioned my son painted something. Excuse me, and he did. Now I did a video about this painting because this is something my son painted when he came over to my house, and at the weekend of Easter we celebrated Passover, and I had a dream about that painting before it happened. And interestingly, in some of the video, there's another video. I will link them in the live chat, but so they'll be popping up. But there's another video, or maybe it's the same one, about a tree that fell that I had a dream about. And in each one, there's one sentence where I go, "Well, that's dumb. There's not even a tree there." Well, there was, because a tree fell. Or the one with my son, and I'm like, it wasn't. I didn't say the painting was dumb. The painting was out of place. It was a very serious dream. Sort of dramatic, very not intense. It wasn't scary, but there was something very serious going on, and the style of painting looked out of place for the background. It was very modern and all that, and the style of art, it was just different. It didn't go with. I don't want imagine that being on like a completely Victorian backdrop, right? It would stick out. And I got to talk to TDC the other day, and I'm still considering some of the things that we talked about. But I had a dream about that, and there was a negative attachment to the dream because, in their defense, I reached out to them when he was just starting the radio thing. He probably had a ton of stuff going on. I was trying to get in touch with Scotty E because he knows how to play music, and I wrote a song, and it's simple, and I just wanted someone to help me because I don't play an instrument. And so he's got all this stuff going on. He's trying to get the radio stuff going on, and I didn't get a response. He probably had an overwhelming response from other people, and very hard to get back to everyone. So no blame. I'm not talking anything bad about him. I enjoyed our conversation the other day, but he was in our conversation. I'm doing it again. The word he was telling me that he noticed how much I said it. And if someone was playing a drinking game, they would literally have died from trying that on Photo Show. I used to edit all that stuff out in my earlier days, and I guess I just accidentally moved back to it. But the point is, I had a dream about that conversation, and I woke up, and the negative thought was, well, they haven't even contacted me about the song. Those people don't even speak to me. I forget about it. The rest of them, I just kind of forgot about it, and then we actually had the conversation. It's 3 times that's happened, and it's very interesting to me. The negative attachment to some of these men of God saying that all of this is going away could... I'm not into New Age philosophies or thinking that we're creating reality, but I think that there's something to having a negative emotion attached to something, because then it's happened several times in my life. And I just lost my train of thought. There was something else I was going to go into. Judgment. So, that being said, I've noticed that anytime I judge someone, I would forget about the situation, the emotions that I had attached to whatever that person did. Some time would pass. It would completely, I would forget about it, not a huge event. And then I would go through the exact same thing relative to my life. And I would behave the same way that they did. And I thank God for that, because this has happened a lot. And I'm sure that it's happened to some of you. I thank God for it, because it's the only thing standing between me and not asking the Father for forgiveness over judging someone else. But it's happened a lot. I'm not going to get into a bunch of different scenarios. I'm just saying, you judge a person, or you're like, I wouldn't do that, or I would have done this. And then you forget that the whole situation took place because it wasn't really relevant. Sometimes it's even been just a week because it was such a small thing. But then I go through a situation relative to my life, and I behave in the exact same way. And then it's like that rush of the memory of me judging that person. And that's when I kind of fall flat on my face and say, please forgive me for judging them. I believe that is the Holy Spirit doing all that. But it's just interesting the way that reality seems to work, in that I go through the exact same thing that I've judged someone for. And I'm sure that some of you have too. I'm going to move on to the thing that I've been trying to write. I wrote a song, and I was having trouble getting it, the music part of it. Got the melody in my head, and of everyone that I know that plays an instrument, I couldn't get anyone to help me. I went to music centers and tried to pay people. They wouldn't call me back. Doing it again. Getting friends of mine on YouTube that know how to play instruments. I mean, no offense, but it's just, I think that it was a spirit. Nothing against them. It's something trying to stop it from happening. And I noticed that there was really something like pumping the brakes on it. And the reason I bring that up is because I thought of an idea. And I've asked for guidance in talking about this, but if it's all going to go away, hopefully I'll plant the seed in your head. If there is nothing new under the sun, then we should see aspects of some of the stories in the Bible repeating with different people. I'm not saying Jesus coming here and dying over and over and over. I think that would actually be torturous, and that's not. He said it is finished when he did it. So I'm not saying like literally the book step by step, but here's the idea. What I was thinking in not so distant future, there's a guy named Paul who is well studied. He went to college. He's probably in some secret groups, also military, and he's hunting down Christians. And in the story, you don't really know that it's Christians because some people just don't. Anytime they hear something about Jesus, they just put the book down. They stop watching the show. They don't want to hear about it. So he's hunting these people down, and you see his beginning life. And how he was accepted and had a beautiful girlfriend and this nice big house. And then he wakes up on a prison ship, probably ran by Interpol. And they're moving around the ocean. The cities that he would be writing to wouldn't be like to Corinth, but I thought of the red light district in Amsterdam. Because in Corinth, there was a lot of temple prostitution. They were using it as a form of worship to false deities and gods. And so I kind of attached it to a modern day disguising the story so that maybe the reader or the viewer, depending if it was a TV or the book, they wouldn't necessarily pick it up at first. And he's going around and they have to leave the ship because something hits it really big. Thought about kind of putting Leviathan in on that, but it wouldn't be it would be sort of a hint to make them get off of like an aircraft carrier, you know. And the way I would disguise it, spoiler alert, the end of it, as he goes to the guillotines because his head was chopped off, much like John the Baptist. They would all be labeled as terrorists as well. But when the guillotine slides down and it kills him, it goes back to a memory of when they were doing a raid on the house to grab more terrorists. And as he's kicking in the door, a bright flash goes off. They would probably be confused thinking that it was a flashback, except it wasn't. And then you hear the Paul, why are you persecuting me? So then I started thinking about these other stories, and you know, John the Baptist's name was going to be like Jean Baptiste, sorry, French terrorist, right? And he's mixed in. So I'm thinking of modernizing some of these stories to get people to relate, to bring them back to, hey, that's, you know, let me read this, you know, let me study on the Bible. And then I started thinking about the Book of Enoch, and if I know that. What I'm trying to say I started thinking about the Book of Enoch and some of the fallen angels and what they taught mankind. So what characteristics would they take on if they left their first estate? Like one of them would probably sort of feminine, I don't know, the kind of guy that you see in the New York modeling industry, in the fashion and stuff like that. Others would be absolutely about war, some about witchcraft or pharmakia, medicine, others about astrological signs or spiritualism. And I started, there's a band that made a song called Hello, My Name is Human. And I watched the video and I shared it with a few Christian brethren. And I really get the feeling when these musicians are on stage and they're receiving these crowds screaming at them. Hey, anybody seen the one with Beyonce and everybody's just like praising and all that? Kanye West even said it's just like church. You pay some money, you go there, you dress up, and you celebrate and you worship. It is a form of church. He said that long ago. That's in another video of mine at the very end. And I think that it's actually a deity. There is a spirit that enters into a man, and it's receiving the worship. The man gets the girls and the money and all the worldly stuff. Excuse me. But it's the spirit that is writing these songs and receiving the worship. I've broken down a bunch of songs before. I just really see it as the fallen angels. Metallica's Nothing Else Matters. I can't help but envision all of them going down to Mount Hermon and them making the pact, that's what the song's about, that it was the leader amongst them trying to convince the others, our life is ours, we do it our way, and then he never care what they do, never care what they know, and they're talking about the humans. I see it so clearly of a conversation among angelic beings. And then people go to a concert and they listen and they scream and they put their hands up and they're giving worship to the deity. I said the hello, my name is human, because it's clear to me that that's what it is. He even says, I stole the power from the sun, and he looks straight up. Sure, you could say sunlight, but come on, man. It's just clear to me that that's what it is. So, back to the book. I started thinking about the human characteristics that some of these fallen angels would have taken on. And then the UN has built a building on top of Mount Hermon. And the more that I think about this, I'm like, this is reality. Like it started out as with the best of intentions to get people interested in the biblical stories, because some people go, well, I just don't understand it. So I was trying to put the understanding in the modern day different stories. Noah's Ark would be like a young Cajun. That's what I came up with at first. I'm sure I could do a little better, but a young Cajun, South Louisiana, right before Hurricane Katrina, and he's building not a pirogue. Those are tiny boats, but something. I don't know. That was just the idea. You get the modernization of the story, and because all the witchcraft and voodoo and everything in New Orleans, he's separate from this society that's around him. The Tower of Babel, Geneva, Switzerland. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like there's really something to this. And, even stories of Pharaoh in Egypt, like all of this is probably going on in one form or another, or something relating to it. And I was just trying to get people interested in the Bible. And so to modernize it, they could really picture it. And then hopefully it would plant the seed to make them want to go and study. And the more I started thinking about it and researching it, especially the UN with that private building on top of Mount Hermon, like, why build that there? What is it about that place? And there's always an explanation, but the one given, I would say, is probably the furthest from the real reason. Still going. I just think that there's something to it. Still trying to remember that thing that I forgot because I know it was important. Oh, I did say it. The judgment thing. Meditate on that, please, and think about it. I know I said the word meditate a lot. I don't mean it like I've gone through that a lot, and I really wanted to say it on Photo Show the other night. But the conversation we tried to cover so much, man. I went through a lot, and I talked about a lot of crazy things that happened to me, but they happened. They happened. I think that's it. I really wish I could have done this live, but it doesn't let me on my phone, and the computer makes a electronic noise. Say hi, guys. So, what's up, buddy? I really found it interesting that they took that away from me. You have to have 1,000 subscribers, right? Well, it didn't start out like that. When Google Hangouts first started, you could record conversations on there and and now you can't even broadcast. It's not a financial thing. Most of us have learned that the way that money is actually created, there's no value on it. And Saturday Night Live even did a skit where one of the actors was like, "Are you ready to get red pilled? It's just digits on a screen. It's just promises from a computer. It doesn't even mean anything." And I'm like, so it's almost as if they seem to know, but they still have to. It's just the system that is here. My point is that I don't believe for 1 second that they took away my ability to live stream because of money, because it was costing them too much, or that they took away Hangouts from doing group chats or doing them live on YouTube without having to use some sort of OBS software. It makes no sense whatsoever. If it all does go away, like I said, so be it. I have enough faith in my Father that I've seen amazing things. Really, I talk about a lot of the dark stuff because it's easier to describe. It doesn't make as much of an impact when I say I think I saw an angel, and they're like, well, what do you mean? Well, I mean, he looked just like a man. Well, how do you know? Because he was there, and the others that were around me seemed to be terrified of him, and never seen him before. And they just walk up and shake your hand and give you, God, the Lord wanted me to tell you. And then, but the other people seem to be very withdrawn from them, like a sort of reverence of terror. It's weird though, but I felt I felt completely at peace, and when chaotic things were going on, and so it doesn't make as much of an impact because. It's not this angelic experience that we've seen on the Hallmark Network. But I know that the things that I've seen, if they take all of this away, when I said that on Photo Show the other night, if I am to, if Jesus said that we'll do greater things, and he cursed a fig tree, and it withered up and died, maybe that's not the best example. I could have picked healing the sick or something, but it's like, really, we can do that. And so the way that the serpent works is very slow and very, very thoughtful and taking things away one thing at a time. I'll give you a worldly example. Everybody's screaming about Columbus Day is racist, so they started that. Then I see a meme that says half of you people that scream about Columbus Day being racist are going to celebrate Thanksgiving next month. And I laughed at that. I was like, there's some truth to that. And then I get to work and they're like, hey, Thanksgiving's not a holiday. I need volunteers. Luckily for me, I'm not trying to be self-righteous. I don't celebrate certain holidays. I celebrate feast. And so maybe that gives me brownie points with the company. I don't know. Anyway, the serpent, in the thought of provoking that this day is racist, and then it slowly moves to, well, Thanksgiving should be just as racist, and it's not a holiday either. And so in that worldly example, the way that it takes things away or tries to make things harder or remove them isn't all of a sudden, for the outcry, because we have to accept it as well. We have to work with StreamYard, which isn't a bad program. There's some nice things to it, except it costs money to get the full benefit. And but again, we have to accept that, you can't do a live stream from Google Hangouts, or I can't live stream from my phone, and I have to go back and chat with you guys in the chat while you're watching this. That's how this snake is working. Anyway, I hope you got something out of this. Even if you're not creative, I would say just a fun exercise if you're stressed out or just bored out of your mind. Pick your favorite story in the Bible and really think about how that could be modernized. And just for yourself. I mean, I'm trying to plant a seed, the one thing that I forgot. So, I get in touch with a college in California, and this is why I brought up the music thing. About learning, because people will not read a screenplay if it's not written in a certain format. That is the way the industry works. I contacted several people, didn't get any. So you see a reoccurring event. People that I know have worked in Hollywood, and I didn't get an email back. And other people that are writing their own Christian screenplays and now trying to produce them, and I didn't get any response back. And so I contact this school in San Francisco, trying to get an online degree, or at least take the courses on writing the screenplays and creative, English writing for the novel. And they're talking to me and they're telling me everything about the school, and then I don't get a call. So I call them for the next appointment. And they say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, our phones are down." And it's just interesting that a university, the entire university's phones are down, but you can call in. And so we have the meeting and we talk about it and all the money and everything. And they say, "We're going to email you all the information on scholarships and grants." I can't afford to pay, like 30 grand, obviously, for an online course. So I was really going to have to dive into the scholarship programs and make it a lot cheaper for myself. I never get the email. They don't call, they don't speak. And so I'll investigate it. But much like me understanding that it was a spiritual thing stopping me from collaborating with someone to write a song, whatever it is going completely out of its way. It's the Art Institute of San Francisco. It's a red triangle. Give them a call if you feel like it, just to test. Say, "Hey, are your phones down?" Or like, can y'all not call out? It doesn't make sense to me. There's a university here in Hammond. It's a nice school, but it's not funded like that one. I would find it odd, even for a small campus of a community college, for it to be down for over a week. This isn't about someone's phone lines. It's a spiritual thing going way out of its way to say, "No, you can't do that either." And I've gotten guidance from others. Some people said, "Hey, maybe it'll help if you talk about your creative writing exercise. Maybe you can get other ideas." And other people saying, "Well, maybe you want to hold on to it." But like the motorcycle thing, I'm not motivated by money or worried about someone taking my idea. Take it. Run with it. Have fun. Really. I won't hold it against you. Praise God. Something, whether I'm being lied to, which I doubt, whether an entire university's phones are down, which I doubt at the same time, there are just aspects to the world that we live in that we don't even comprehend, and they just brush over our head. But I don't believe that their phones are down, nor do I believe the lady is lying to me. I don't know what it is, but it's interesting that as soon as I inquire about getting a degree and trying to glorify God and writing, to bring people to Christ, or at least start them on their journey, a giant university that's well funded, or at least they have cell phones. I mean, dude, come on. This is stupid. This is stupid. Critical thinking. I don't know if they think I'm retarded or what, but it's a spiritual thing. Anyway, not trying to end on a bad note, but that's just ridiculous. I hope you got something out of this. Really think on that. It's fun to realize how some of the stories within the Bible, we could be seeing them again. We think there's nothing new under the sun. I believe that there are some people with Nephilim blood here, and it would be different from people that play sports and professional sports leagues, to some of the politics, to some of the people that make decisions, to some of the witches and things that really brush over our head. It don't look like Harry Potter, I promise you. But I was trying to think there's nothing new under the sun, so that those that believe in some of the stories would see aspects of it in other people's life, or in their own life. Anyway, God bless. Have a good day.